Should we get into it? Maybe you weren't the bad guy. Maybe you were just the one telling the truth. The only one with boundaries. The only one who didn't let people walk all over you. Today, we are talking about the times we weren't the sweet, likable lead in the book. We were the villains in the story. I want to be clear. Standing up for yourself does not make you a villain. Being honest to your friend about their shitty boyfriend doesn't make you the bad guy. Today, we're talking about what happens when you stop being polite and start being real. So we did ask a few of you to submit the times when you were the villain in someone's story. Let me read them to you. The first one was, I kissed my gay male roommate's crush. And I said, baby, it's giving overcompensating. You know the show on Prime Video, Overcompensating? And she was like, I love that show. And I was like, you would. So she did clarify that the gay roommate's crush was a straight guy who also had a crush on her. That's kind of a murky, little waters, because I feel like I wouldn't kiss somebody my straight female friend had a crush on. There are a lot of fish in the sea. There are a lot of gay fish in the sea. So just pick a gay fish next time to have a crush on, and not a straight fish. Yeah. This one was sad. It said, existing in front of my mother. That was a time that she was a villain. I was like, oh, that's so sad. You know what? Maybe your mother existing in front of you. Maybe she's the villain. I told her I wouldn't have a conversation with her while she's angry and attacking me. And she goes, I know you think you're all big and mature for setting these emotional boundaries, but you really just use them to hide when relationships are hard. So I made a tote bag that says big, mature, emotional boundaries, and I carry all of my baggage in it. And she sent us a picture of the bag. I love it. When I told my high school best friend not to marry the man that she ended up marrying, and everything that continued to transpire for several years after, it is still something that makes me emotional. And it was so hard to just watch the self-destruction. She did say that she was her childhood best friend forever, and she ended up not even being invited to the wedding. And they divorced a couple years later. The two friends have since reconciled. Okay, it's time. I'm going to tell my villain stories. The times I was a shitty friend. And I don't know if it really... Okay, here's the problem with me. I'm real quick to cut you off. I'm really quick to be like... Not just like so much... It's not me not taking accountability. There are just certain times when I'm like, maybe we're just not each other's people. And like, that's okay. One of those times is I had a friend, I won't name her name, who, I don't know, every time we hung out, we were both trying to have a baby at the same time. And it's all she wanted to talk about. And it just like wasn't what I wanted to talk about because, listen, it was like all I thought about. So I just like didn't want to talk about it all of the time. And she was constantly like, kind of felt like it was a race to get pregnant. Like we were in competition, and I was like, and she ended up getting pregnant. She was like, well, you're not doing all of the things I told you to do. And I'm like, so it was already kind of like, I don't know if I want to be friends with this person. She ended up selling her house to a friend of mine. I did not know who she had sold her house to until I was sitting down with a friend at a coffee shop, and she was like, I bought this house. And I was like, where is it? And she told me, and I was like, holy crap, that's my friend's house. And she was like, no way. She was like, what's her name? And I told her her name thinking there was nothing malicious here. I was just telling her, I'm like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Well, my friend ended up telling her wife this person's name. Her wife reached out to my friend and was like trying to get some extra like stuff thrown into the contract. So she was upset with me, and I was like, this is not, she was like, you're a real estate agent. You should know this. And I was like, this is not, but I'm not your real estate agent. Instead of just letting the real estate agents handle it, she went straight to the source. I never in a million years thought she would do that. And I was like, listen, I am so sorry. If I thought for a second that's what would happen, I've never heard of anybody doing that. And I'd been in real estate for years. Like I wouldn't have done it, and I apologized. And she sent me a voice note screaming at me. Screaming at me. And I said, hey, I don't let anybody fucking talk to me like that. So you and I are done. The fact that you felt like you could talk to me like that's fucking wild. So you and I are no longer friends. Do not contact me. And then she went to a couple of our mutual friends and was like, tell her to change her mind. And my friend was like, oh, Kaylee doesn't change her mind. Like after she's done, like she's done, unfortunately. Like there's no me talking to her. I am a grown fucking woman. Don't yell at me, weirdo. You know what's funny is that it's kind of like the common theme in this episode is all of the stories that I've found where people are the villains. They actually kind of have a redemption arc here. But I was the villain in her story. The other time, we all talk about our friends. Like, that's just like how it goes. Like, I'm sorry. If you're going to sit here and tell me that you don't, you're a liar. We all do. And there was this person who all of my friends had come up to me at certain points and they were like, she doesn't like you. Like, she's mean to you. I was like, what? Like, I just like wasn't catching it. And they're like, yeah, she's fake nice. She's mean girl. And I just like didn't see it. But after two of my friends coming up to me and saying this, I started like clocking it. And then I would notice she would say certain things like about my appearance or yeah. And then she would like start hitting on my husband, which was like fucking weird. And, yeah, just like so many things. So I started kind of like bringing up to my mom, like I wasn't talking crap about her. I was just like, hey, do you notice this? Do you think this is weird? And my mom was fully on her side. She was like, no, your friends just don't want you to have other friends. And I was like, I don't think that's true, but whatever. So we had already kind of stopped seeing each other as friends. And then two of my siblings ended up getting her on a phone call and were telling her all of the stuff that I was telling them. I do not talk to my siblings. Let's just make that clear. I never said anything to you because I don't talk to you. And then they three-way called my mom at their big age to like get her in on it. And mom was like, no, you were here during this time. Like you literally came in and I picked you up from the airport and I was like, dude, all this shit's going on. And you were like, Hannah, producer Hannah. She was like, because they're like, who's she talking to? She was like, you need to call her and you need to apologize and you need to just, kind of, you need to call and hash this out. And I was like, actually, I don't think I want to be her friend. And you were like, okay, then yeah. And I was like, no, I think my siblings did this because they wanted me to grovel and they wanted to shake my life up. And I don't want to do that. Anyways, let's talk about people the media tried to convince us were the villains. Propaganda I am not falling for. Topher Grace. He was portrayed to be an asshole because he didn't go out partying with the rest of the cast of that 70s show. He would literally go and do his job and then he'd go home and the rest of the cast hung out. But now we know that the rest of the cast was sucked into Scientology and weirdos or rapists. And he probably just didn't want to get down with that. So actually, out of the whole cast of that 70s show, he's like the only normal one. Janet Jackson. She was highly criticized and her career took a dip after the Super Bowl, but Justin Timberlake's flourished and he didn't suffer the same consequences, even though he was also on that stage and he ripped that little pasty off her tit. Katherine Heigl, when she was filming Knocked Up, she had a quote that said, "It paints the women as shrews, as humorless and uptight, and it paints the man as lovable, goofy, fun-loving guys. Why is this how you're portraying women?" She wasn't wrong. She did say that she liked being on set. She had a fun time, but the portrayal of women in rom-coms, really, in general, do portray women as like uptight, humorless women, whereas like the guys like fun and goofy. up until Bridesmaids, and Bridesmaids had to be a success. Like, we do not talk about enough how women in comedy and women leads in comedies rode on the success of Bridesmaids. Like, if that tanked, we would not have female leads in comedies. Like, that literally had to be successful. Katherine Heigl also added that 98% of her experience on the set of Knocked Up was amazing. It was hard for her to actually love the final product. She caught a lot of flack for that. But let's be honest, she wasn't wrong. And I know she had drama with her Grey's Anatomy co-workers. She was like deemed as difficult for that. Justice for Katherine Heigl. People who were blacklisted for crazy ass reasons. Mira Sorvino. She was blacklisted from the industry after she won an Oscar, by the way, for Best Supporting Actress, because she turned down Harvey Weinstein's advances 3 times. She was at 90s Con and, with tears in her eyes, said, quote, "He stifled her career." She was supposed to be like the next big thing. I mean, she won an Oscar for Mighty Aphrodite and then just kind of like fell off the face of the earth. But Romy and Michelle, best movie ever. That's like top 5. Brendan Fraser. Philip Burke sexually assaulted Fraser in 2003 at a luncheon held by the Hollywood Foreign Press. Fraser ultimately made his comeback in 2022 with The Whale receiving a 6-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival. Megan Fox. She spoke out about Michael Bay's behavior on the set of Transformers, equating him to Hitler, and her career never fully recovered. Rachel Ziegler. Is that how you say that? Ziegler? Yeah. Rachel Ziegler. Blamed for the Snow White movie flopping when really none of us wanted to watch a Zionist perform in shitty CGI. We all know the real reason Jonah Platt called her immature was because of her stance on Palestine. Petty crimes and misdemeanor. Okay, so this is the section where I'm going to tell you about celebrities who committed petty crimes, and then I'm going to sentence them. I'm the judge. Mariah Carey. She billed her ex $50 million for wasting her time. So I'm going to charge her with diva behavior in the first degree with the intent to invoice. And she already reclaimed the word diva on Meghan Markle's podcast, so I can say that. She's sentenced to a life of luxury with full immunity from all future inconveniences. Queen behavior. Cher sent a truck of horse shit to a tabloid office. So I'm going to charge her with premeditated petty with intent to commit biological warfare. She's sentenced to teaching a masterclass in clapbacks and pettiness. Rihanna. She's got so many, but this might be number 1. In March 2018, Snapchat ran an ad with a game called Would You Rather. The ad asked, would you rather slap Rihanna or punch Chris Brown? She clapped back, causing their stock to tank. I'm charging her with corporate sabotage in the first degree, and her sentence is mandatory world domination. Yeah, take that Oval Office, babe. Sophie Turner. In 2023, while Joe Jonas's team seemed to be pushing the narrative that Sophie was a bad mom, even though she paused her career for motherhood, Sophie posted a pic from Taylor Swift, Joe Jonas's ex, her apartment mid-divorce. I'm charging her with... Actually, I think she kind of served her time being married to Joe Jonas. It's punishment enough, babe. She was doing some heavy lifting with that. I think it's kind of impossible to move through life without pissing somebody off. So, just do what you want to do. Don't actually actively harm people. And if people still think you're the villain, then fuck them. And if you don't follow us and like and subscribe and watch our fucking TikToks, I'm going to charge you with not supporting female businesses.